A very good morning to all our honored guests, dignitaries, faculty members, table presenters, and other meeting attendees. I, Dr. Harsha Ratnani, Associate Professor from Department of Information Technology, on behalf of Jagannath International Management School, Vasantkunj, feel extremely honored to have an opportunity to welcome you all to this online national conference on information technology and innovation ecosystem organized by Department of Information Technology, JIMS Vasantkunj, in collaboration with ICT Academy and GGSIP University. The sudden and unexpected COVID-19 pandemic has had a drastic impact on our lives and prevented us all from attending this prestigious conference in person. But our spirits are high, and this virus outbreak has not stopped us from finding alternate ways to connect with the world. It has, in fact, shown us all various new ways of conducting successful events online. I feel privileged to address you all in this prestigious moment, which we have been able to achieve with great efforts and teamwork of all the faculty members of Department of Information Technology, JIMS Vasantkunj, collectively with ICT Academy and GGSIP University. To make this a success story, we have amongst us a galaxy of experts to speak upon core areas of our conference. We have been privileged to be joined by our respected director, Dr. Ravi Kedar. It may be possible that our esteemed chairman, Dr. Amit Gupta, will also join us in a short while. Along with that, we have dignitaries like Dr. Vijay Lakshmi as our keynote speaker, Mr. Somajit Guha and Mr. Aman Sanduja as our guest speaker for the inaugural session, followed by Dr. Ruchika Malhotra and Dr. Naresh Kumar as our session chair and co-chair for the technical session 1, along with Dr. A.K. Mahapatra and Dr. Meenakshi Narula as a technical co-chair and chairperson for technical session 2 for this online national conference on IT and innovation ecosystems. I welcome you all and thank you for having taken out time from your busy schedules for our online conference and feel honored with your presence on this platform. I'm sure our attendees and members of our faculty will derive great intellectual delight from listening to you all and definitely benefit from your words of wisdom and innovative ideas. But before we move any further, I request everyone to join hands for 2 minutes for seeking the blessings of Ma Saraswati, the goddess of knowledge and arts, for helping us all to absorb the free flow of knowledge and wisdom shared during the session. I request my colleague Mr. Deepak Sharma to start with Saraswati Vandana. Sir, can we have the Vandana, please?
माँ सरस्वती शारदे माँ सरस्वती शारदे इस अज्ञान उदध से इस अज्ञान उदध से वीणा पाणी तार दे तार दे तार दे माँ सरस्वती शारदे माँ सरस्वती शारदे
Thank you so much, Deepak sir. It was indeed very auspicious. Moving further, Jim's Vasankuj, a synonym to perseverance for success, believes that information, innovation, knowledge, and entrepreneurship are driving factors for which we need to organize platforms for people to come and meet often towards becoming a knowledge driven economy in these COVID hit hard times too. This conference is a step forward in this direction. We have attempted to bring people all over the people of high intellect to examine conceptual and empirical papers highlighting the application of IT and innovative solutions for organizations as well as individuals in the current scenario. The conference has been organized under the flagship of our institute, Jagannath International Management School, Vasantpur, which was established in 2003. Since then, in these 17 years of glory, it has emerged as one of the topmost institutes of GGS IPU at Delhi. The college has been awarded the highest grade A by the Joint Assessment Committee of GGS Indraprastha University and the Government of NCT of Delhi and by the University Academic Audit Committee, and plus A, the highest grade by the State Fee Regulatory Committee of the Government of NCT of Delhi for the last 5 years. The institute has also been awarded Grade A by the National Assessment and Accreditation Council, Bengaluru. Our college has been adjudged as the topmost college for media education by the Center for Education Growth and Research, New Delhi in 2015, and as the fifth best college in India for IT education by Global Human Resource Development Center, GHRDC, New Delhi in 2018. Along with that, we are at the 26th position amongst the best BBA B school in the country in Times BBA B School Survey 2018. Among the initiatives taken in recent years, the Institute has become a participating member of UNGC and UNPRME New York, apart from establishing Institute Innovation Council under MHRD Government of India. We are also working for the upliftment of 5 villages in NCT of Delhi under Unnat Bharat Abhiyan scheme of the MHRD Government of India and broadcasting DST sponsored radio mathematics program on its community radio 90.4 MHz. In this conference today, we are privileged to have our respected director, sir, who has joined us especially for this conference. I welcome you, sir. Dr. Dhar, Dr. Ravi K. Dhar has completed his doctorate in English from the Northeastern Hill University, Shillong, and Master of Journalism and Master of Communication from Himachal Pradesh University, Shimla. Dr. Dhar started his career as a lecturer in English at Northeastern Hill University, Shillong. He has taught English and journalism at Punjab Agriculture University, Ludhiana, at the Ethiopian Civil Services University, Addis Ababa. Dr. Dhar has also published papers in English literature, education, and mass communication, apart from presenting many papers in conferences at Stockholm, Bangkok, and Xinjiang in South Korea. He has published in total 4 books. Among these are Media in Swirl, a book on new media, Indian Management, Thought and Practice, Orphans of the Storm, a novel, and The Chant of Itsatam, a collection of poems. He has also edited a book on poetry titled The Rime of the Mystic Mariner. He is a senior vice president in Delhi chapter of CEGR. He has also been awarded OIC India Award for contribution to understanding. I welcome you, sir, and would request you to say a few motivational words to all the attendees, our dignitaries, and the faculty members before the start of the conference. To you, sir.
Thank you, Harsha, for such a beautiful presentation, inauguration in a way of the issues of the conference. And you have very well spoken about the institution and also what all the institution has been achieving, and you have very ably conducted the first part of the conference. On behalf of my institution's faculty, staff, and students, I feel greatly honored to welcome all the important speakers and distinguished speakers who have courtesy ICT Academy found time from their busy schedules to be with us, and in particular with our faculty and students. I do understand that we are living in hard-pressed times and people are hard pressed for time, in fact, because there are too many things to be worked out, both obligations towards our work schedules, work responsibilities, and also responsibilities towards our homes, because most of us are working from home. And sometimes I jocularly say it is a kind of homework that we are doing. So work at home and work from home together make homework. So a very warm welcome to all our distinguished guests. We are indeed privileged to have you here today with us to interact and to share your thoughts with our students and our faculty. It's always good to have people who are in the field, who are on ground zero and working out changes. The subject of the seminar, of the conference, is very, very appropriate given the fact that we are living in times which are highly disruptive. We are talking of innovation ecosystems, information technology and innovation ecosystems. Two important, two key pillars, two key elements in coming to grips with fragility and also with disruption.
Dear audience, we are honored to have with us today Dr. K. Vijayalakshmi, who has specially joined us, taken out time for this online conference. Dr. Lakshmi is the Vice President of Development Alternatives Group, responsible for technology, innovation and research at the group. A chemist by training, Dr. Lakshmi's main focus and achievements are in the area of water quality management associated with development and application of innovative technologies that address the problems of women. She took upon herself the challenge of demystifying the science of water quality monitoring and management. She has been the recipient of National Award for Women's Development through application of science and technology for the year 2007, granted by the President of India. She has guided the development of testing kits and water filters, and that can be taken to villages in India. She is an advisor to India Water Partnership and has been the Asia Regional Member in the Global Water Partnership. As a key advisory committee member for ISO, advised on CSR standard developments too. She has guided the design and implementation of multi-stakeholder processes for setting up of voluntary standards for corporates, especially in the lead acid battery and hospitality sectors. She has expertise in environmental management systems, planning, design and facilitation of implementation, environment impact assessments, environment monitoring and prediction studies. May I now request you, ma'am, to enlighten our audience with your knowledgeable talk, and I'm sure everyone is keen to listen to you, ma'am, just like I am. Ma'am, over to you.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Harshita, and thanks to Jagannath Institute of Management Studies for inviting me, and thanks to Dr. Narula, Dr. Ravithar. Excellent introduction to the topic of the day, and so I as very honored to be here with amongst all of you. This is my first interaction with your students and other dignitaries who are speaking today, and I'll be delighted to stay on, but I have to attend another meeting, my own organization's meeting. Everybody is sitting there, and so I'll speed up my presentation, but I will join back as soon as I finish my meeting. So I would like to be sharing I can share my screen now?
You can share your screen. We have given you the permission.
Not letting me.
Yes,
Okay.
Ma'am, you have to click on screen share.
Where is screen?
It's at the
Yeah,
bottom.
I got it. I got it.
Yes, ma'am.
Are you able to see?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Please open
Is it full screen?
No, ma'am.
Yeah.
It's the drive only.
Okay. Yeah. It's okay.
It open.
You just please open the PPT, then share that screen.
Yeah. I opened. Can you see it now?
No, ma'am. Your this for Windows Explorer is open. You just
Now you have to
again
click on the share screen once again and
and
then
select the PPT. Select the PPT.
Yeah, I selected.
No. You just click on share screen, ma'am.
Okay.
And then it will be showing 3-4 windows which are opened in your system.
Yeah.
Just select the PPT window. Yes, now we are selected. Now we are
Are you
able
able
to
to
see, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, let me start my presentation, and good morning to all of you. And my name is Vijay Lakshmi. I work with Development Alternatives Group as Vice President. By training, I was a chemist, doctorate in chemistry. But by job, over the years, last 30 years, I have transformed myself to understand the needs of the people, and as my organization focuses more from innovation, I focus on innovation, but ultimate aim is to reach out to the large number of people with livelihoods. So whatever we do, ultimately it's supposed to be leading to product service which can create jobs on the ground or improve livelihoods, improve the quality of life. So let me, and most of you might know about our organization. We are very close to your building. And so one of the days when the lockdown gets over, we may have another interaction face to face. I would love to interact with your students. And so I'm going to focus, and Dr. Ravidhar has preempted many of my ideas already, and he's given such a great exposition in terms of what is the significance of information technology and innovation ecosystems. So I'm going to contextualize the innovation. Why do we need innovations, and why do we need ecosystems? And what is the role of IT? IT is something in transformation has happened in various forms. So the unprecedented way, in an unprecedented way, the starting with radio communication, now we have reached a stage where data analytics is at the tip of the click of a mouse. Data analytics and artificial intelligence and blockchains, and you name it, and so much innovation happening. And in this milieu of innovations, we need to contextualize our development challenges. In spite of all this development that is happening, I think we need to have our heart at the right place. Then only the society as a whole move together without much disparity. I think that's the focus of our organization as well, to bring equality and gender issues, and ensuring the vulnerable communities are at the forefront, benefited by the developmental research. Or since we are a non-academic R&D organization, we have a lot of partnerships both with academia, corporates, as well as to understand wherever there are innovations, lab it up and take it to the field. So the development challenge I'm focusing is, one of the development challenges is WASH, which is very relevant now from the COVID point of view. We are using excessive water, water bodies are getting contaminated, and no more water going to be there. So can IT revolutionize the way we going to live in the post-COVID scenario? The WASH stands for Water, Sanitation and Hygiene sectors. And this scenario you will see in many parts of the country. Out of the 457, 257 districts have been recently designated in the sense they have been identified. They are going to be coming under black zones. So there is no groundwater available due to excessive extraction for irrigation purposes and industrial purposes. So the competing users, both animals, people, and various other users. So this scenario is very prevalent in many parts of the country, both in urban and rural areas. So how can we change? Can IT innovations change this scenario? I'm going to answer some of these queries after 3-4 slides very quickly. This is a slide on the diarrheal diseases are something which is prevalent because of our practices. Because you saw in the previous picture, the fecal contamination is a source. And because of which the first 90% of waterborne diseases are due to fecal contamination, and 37.7 million Indians are affected each year. 1.5 million children are dying from diarrhea even now. 73 million Indian working days are lost, and thereby the GDP loss is about 600 million spent on medical costs and other treatments and loss of days of working days. So can IT innovations provide easy to access information? If the sources are contaminated, is there any way that the communities can get to know what is good for them, where they can access? Is there any IT enabled solutions that we can take it to their doorstep?
I'm sure everybody was concentrating on your slides. The slides were very informative and eye-opening. Especially I noted the points with respect to role of IT and need of innovation in analysis of data for the water monitoring system. I'm sure some of my students or other researchers will find the passion to research in that area, and we can sure contribute to the development of your issues which you have just discussed with us. The feast, the feast outcomes is takeaway from your presentation. So innovation comes from feast outcomes. So if it is possible for you, ma'am, we'll be glad if you can share these slides with us too.
Sure, I'll do it.
And thank you once again. We hope you can join us someday in person at our campus.
Would be happy. Thank you. Thank you all. Thank you, Dr. Narula and Dr. Dhar.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you all, students. Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
I'll join you back as soon as I'm free. Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
You can use the same Zoom ID, ma'am.
Yeah.
Next, we are honored to have amongst us Mr. Aman Sanduja, co-founder Zubi Infotech. Mr. Sanduja is an emerging technology leader and an entrepreneur who has co-founded 3 companies. He has taught 5,000 plus students and professionals on blockchain and digital assets across Southeast Asia. Mr. Sanduja is a professor on Upgrad, a TEDx speaker, and also on the board of Times Group's Bennett University. Previously, he did innovation with Google and Primal Enterprise. Sir has excelled courses on entrepreneurship and management from IIT Delhi and Stanford University. He is one of the early adopters of blockchain and cryptocurrencies in India and has advised various state governments and organizations on the adoption and application of the technology. He has also traded and managed portfolios and has taught at numerous premier institutes and organizations all over the country. I welcome you, sir, and feel grateful for your precious time. I request you now to please give us the honor of listening to your knowledgeable talk at this platform. I'm sure all the students are looking forward to your presentation, as many of them want to do projects in cryptocurrency and IoT sector. So over to you, please.
All right. Thank you so much. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for inviting me. It's good to see Dr. Narula once again, and thank you so much, Dr. Dhar as well. Can I have the access to my presentation? It's still saying that I cannot have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now you can share.
All right. Perfect. Just a sec. All right. Is my screen visible?
Yeah, sir. Starting.
Yes.
All right. Great. All right. So today I would be talking about future of work and humans, and I would also briefly touch down upon blockchain, artificial intelligence, and IoT. Just a brief background about myself, as already just mentioned by one of the ma'ams. I co-founded 3 companies. Right now, I'm a co-founder with Zubi. I have had a chance to speak at the TEDx stage. I'm also chairing the board of studies at Bennett University and also Amity University recently. I also teach blockchain to consultants and professionals on Upgrad. I worked with Google, Piramal, and I've taught 5,000 plus students, researchers, scholars on blockchain, both online as well as in person. And I've been early adopter of cryptocurrencies and blockchain, and I've had a chance to work with various state governments and institutions. So COVID, we all are worried about what's going to happen and what will be the new normal, as most of us are talking about. And BC is now before COVID, not anymore before Christ. And AD will be the after disruption. So if you look at what's happening these days is, in last, if I would say last 2 weeks, I've had a chance to speak to 10,000 plus students connected over online, and I haven't really updated my bio. That's why. So, and it's only possible because we are doing the social distance education through technology, and Zoom is the new normal, or the virtual platforms are the new normal, and the space between the teacher and the students, between the stage and the sitting area, has been captured by Zoom or virtual platforms. And right now we are not really sure whether the institution would be able to capitalize, or we would go back to the four walls and try and learn. Like last 2.5 years, I have been traveling a lot. Every 3 weeks I have to travel either to a new state or a new country. But now, if I reflect back, I was questioning myself that, Aman, whether there was a need of so much travel, because things can happen online. And why? Because you have to travel, there is a lot of time you have to spend on unproductive hours. There's a logistic which is included. So COVID has changed everything from supply chains to retail to healthcare to pharmaceutical industry, travel, manufacturing, also Hollywood and Bollywood. The most of the content consumption is now on Amazon Prime. We are not really sure whether the theaters would go back to the full capacity as we reopen. The supply chains are disrupted, and the previous speaker was talking about, there's a lot of problems of water and different other things. So delivery is also getting affected as well, and I'll talk about in my presentation as we go further. Also the healthcare sector, like a few days back I was taking a coaching for doctors how to use Zoom, because they cannot visit the hospital. They have to treat the patients online, or do the basic consulting online. So telemedicine is picking up. Travel, you would not believe that most of the companies have started virtual tours or virtual vacations, and all of this is possible through the technology. Like a couple of days back I was talking to a company based out of Bangalore. They said, we used to do tour and travels for most of the places in Europe, but now we are affected because of Corona, because nobody is interested to travel for next 1 year, and we never know that we possibly don't know that we would be able to resume back to the similar situation as we were 6 months back or 1 year back. So they've started virtual tours, and virtual tours, they're able to do it through the power of augmented reality and virtual reality. So it feels like you're actually in Switzerland, you're actually next to the Eiffel Tower and enjoying certain things, because of course you cannot do touch and feel, but there are some experiences which makes you that, okay, that if not the physical travel, the virtual travel is giving you that kind of an experience. And if you look at, we all start our career and vision when we are almost 10 years old or little over that. Some of the people have an aspiration to become a teacher, astronaut, possibly run some companies and be a painter, be a musician. But if you fast forward the life right now and reflect upon when you were possibly 10, 12 years of age, you have never imagined that how the office spaces or workspaces would look like. Like Facebook, Twitter, Spotify have said that we are okay that the employees work over a period of time or for next 3 to 5 years remotely or from their home, because we do not want to take any risk by having the employees in the office space. So we have not imagined the office spaces would not be of relevance after the COVID, and the buildings would not be operating in a full capacity. And we have not imagined the remote work. Like the present company which we have started, Zubi, we are focusing on engineers. And the worst part is our Indian education system is evolving, but we're still not able to capture the employment needs, because 10,000 engineering colleges are there and close to 15 lakh engineers graduate every year, and 80% of them are unemployed. And on the other hand, today morning itself, there was the Economic Times headline that 2 lakh jobs are required in emerging technologies, and emerging technologies like blockchain, AI, IoT, cybersecurity, game development has started picking up, because people are at home and in the idle time they are doing nothing but just playing games. PUBGs, Ludos and all have started picking up. And once you have a need, you need to match up with the supply and you need to match up with the demand. So you need to upgrade your skills. We have never imagined 15-20 years back that there could be a possibility of remote work and you could be connected through Zooms and different platforms. And the commute, of course, the drones are coming up, and the metros and all will definitely be affected, because you will not see the full capacity. And the cities are changing from, we have looked at rural, urban, and now nobody talks about the rural, urban. People talk about cities and smart cities. With smart cities, your devices are connected and you do not require to do any physical interaction with the people. Possibly, let's take an example. If you are on a highway and you overspeed, The camera can detect your number plate and issue you instant challan. Your wallets can be integrated like Paytm, Google Pay, or any other wallet. And by the time you overspeed that toll or overspeed that camera lane, you'll possibly get instant challan of 500, 700, 800 rupees, whatever the amount is. So these are the future. And with the waste management, by the time the garbage bins are full, it gives a notification to MCD, the nearby MCD, that they need to come and collect it. And you do not require a physical intervention or human intervention over there, because the things can be managed by the device in itself. Similarly, for our water bodies, we can look at the levels of our water bodies through the IoT devices or different sensors. Like just from cities, if I shifted to home, I gifted Alexa to my grandmother on her 75th birthday. And I've seen how she has started using it, because she has fed all her medicine reminders, she has fed all her friends' numbers on Alexa, and it became her virtual friend. So we are seeing that digital transformation and digitization will pick up, and this change is definitely not linear, it is exponential. If you go back and look at the size of a what you call mobile phone, and computers have significantly reduced, and now the iPhone has a capacity to process at the same amount of what NASA Apollo mission computers can do that, and the cost has reduced as well. And of course, for the hardwares, if you look at 30-40 years back, the cost of camera, the first digital camera by Kodak, of course Kodak cannot stand with the innovation. It was 0.01 megapixel. Right now possibly will not even buy a phone which has 10 megapixel of camera. And fast forward to 2014, we have 10 megapixel at this much weight that was costing us $10. So how is it possible? What is this principle known as? I'm sure you're getting some idea. So look at this, 50-60 years back, we have never imagined that Instagram will become part of our daily life. And this change is definitely not linear. Like I said, it's definitely exponential, and Kodak cannot stand with that. And Instagrams of the world are replacing the digital hardware cameras. I'm not really sure that what does the percentage look like for people who uses DSLR still, because everyone is looking for instant photography and instant gratification, like ma'am have also talked about, that I should get some kind of a momentum or some kind of appreciation if I upload it somewhere. But with DSLR, you need to edit and do certain things which takes slightly a little longer time with Instagrams and different platforms. And similarly with each and every hotel industry, if you look at Hyatt, it was founded in 1957. It has $4 billion in revenue. They could do $8 billion. But Airbnb's OYOs of the world have definitely disrupted, because millennials prefer the low budgeted, and the experience and the facilities should be of the similar standard, but I do not have to pay much of the price as I have to do it in 5-star. And this is only possible because of the Moore's law, because he said that price performance of computers will double after 18 to 24 months, and possibly the price you were paying 24 months or 18 months earlier, you have to pay 1/3 or 1/4 of that. So the universities, like a few days back I was on the CII forum, I was talking about the universities. Possibly we have to see the hybrid hybrid learning model. Like the theoretical can be taught on Zooms or online platform, but with the practical experience you might have to visit universities, like for chemistry labs and all, you cannot have the setup at home. So the hybrid model will be the new normal, or hybrid model will be the new phase which we will see in education sector specifically. Now shifting the gears towards little bit more towards the technology, we have seen the industrial revolution, how it has evolved from what you call the first revolution towards the power, and then we have started setting up factories, and then the factories have started becoming bigger and bigger, and we have moved from mechanical factories to digital factories, to a third revolution. And now we are looking towards a connected internet with the devices which are connected. So like I usually talk about, 30 years down the lane, possibly when you step into a Starbucks, you do not have to order a coffee to a person. Possibly you can stand in front of a coffee machine, and coffee machine can give you a coffee basis the previous buying patterns they have seen it, and can give you instant discount. So most of the times you might have seen in the Big Bazaar, they keep the chocolates at the checkout counters, because these are the certain things which you possibly like to pick up while you are checking it out. But while you're checking it out, there could be some discounts, like it can give you that there is a discount on some of the groceries, which on the buying pattern can have realization that your refrigerator is out of tomatoes, so there could be a need of buying tomatoes, and you can buy it at 20% discount. So all these things are only possible because of emerging technologies. And I usually say that technology will definitely be the backbone, and you should not only be the consumer, you also be the creator of technology. And the creation only possible because of the passion, grit, tenacity, and of course the purpose towards changing or disrupting the ecosystem or bringing some of the products which are meaningful for the consumers. And the ground reality, if you look at it, 20 million people suffer from hunger worldwide. And they do not suffer because they do not have the capacity to buy, but most of them do not really have the physical document to prove that I am the person who is living in a society.
All other attendees have taken a lot of useful tips and motivation from your informative session. The blockchain and crypto is a hot topic, as we all know, and for many passionate coders, they have just raised the curiosity of how to bring the trust back after using the apps and reading the articles about the Arogya Setu, Aadhaar card, and so on, many other apps. So I'm sure people will now be developing their skills more in this blockchain technology. Thank you so much, sir, for taking out time. Please do join us in our campus whenever you have time. Whenever we
I
have
would love to do that. Thank you so much. I'll stay on the conference if required. I'm happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
but we'll be pleased to have you at our campus any day, sir. Thank you, sir. We have amongst us next Mr. Soumyajit Guha, Vice President at Paddock Ventures Private Limited, Gurgaon, Haryana, India. Welcome, sir. Sir, I would request you to please switch on your video as well. Mr. Soumyajit holds an MBA in Entrepreneurship and Innovation from Exeter University and have over 19 plus years of experience with recognized proficiency in startup ecosystem development, investment management, angel investing, startup acceleration and incubation, incubator management, research and analysis, team management, process migration, operations, and business analysis. He's currently working for Paraventures as Vice President. Before that, he was working as a faculty at IMT Ghaziabad in the area of strategy, innovation, and entrepreneurship, and was also responsible for the incubator and e-cell of IMT Ghaziabad. Prior to joining IMT, he was heading the India operation of Jarvis Accelerator as principal. Previous to this, he was leading Calcutta Angels Network as the CEO. He has also worked at IIM Calcutta and was responsible for establishing the incubation center IMCIT of the institute. Along with that, he has also worked at the startup incubator at IIT Kharagpur. Mr. Guha, after completing his MBA, stayed in the UK for 5 years. There, he has worked for Chartered Development as IT project campaign manager and with the Secure Source as a business analyst. Sir, and thank you to you for taking out time from your busy schedule for our conference and would request you to please share your innovative ideas with us all. Over to you, sir. Aman, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. Should I start sharing my screen?
Deepak, kindly
Yes, sir. Yes, we
remove
will
it.
start sharing.
Yes, now you can share.
Thank you. So, thank you for your for the kind words for introduction. It's a privilege for me to be part of this. Thank you, Dr. Naruda, and apologies for all the botheration I have caused because I was having some problem with the network, so I couldn't connect in time.
It's our
But here I
pleasure
am.
to have you.
And it's good that actually Aman spoke before me because he's the guy from whom I learned. So I'm one of his 5,000 students in a way, where he taught me the basics about blockchain in Khan Market, discussing over some drink and some food. So thank you, everyone. So today I don't think I need to talk about technology innovation anymore because obviously there were a couple of speakers before me who talked about it at length. What I'm going to talk about is how do you use technology? How do you use innovative technology to solve a problem worth solving? See, when you talk about entrepreneurship and innovation, it goes side by side. I mean, you are an entrepreneur if you're disrupting something. Otherwise, you're just a startup. To me, that's how I look at it. To us, Paddock Ventures. So I work for a company called Paraf Ventures. Paraf Ventures is basically into mentoring platform, not a platform, so we provide mentoring support to startups. We also are knowledge partners to several incubators and accelerators across the country, including STPI, including IIM Udaipur and IIT Delhi and all. So without further delay, I'll just start the session. So one of the prevailing questions that that kind of bugs all of us is why startups fail. Usually the questions answers come in as key startups fail because they don't get funded, because investors don't put in money, because people don't buy them, people prefer branded over local ones. All these things we have heard a lot. And so I did a survey. I did a research, not a survey, I did a research. And I found that Business Insider, obviously, they had done such a thing before me. And what they found, these are the top 5 reasons for which startups fail. And you'd be surprised that the topmost reason is building something nobody wants. So, the classic example of buying a hammer and then looking for a nail. And if you look at investment, there's only one time the investor name is mentioned, which has got nothing to do with not getting investor, which says chasing instead investors instead of customers. I say this to all the startups. Your first investor should be your customer. So if anyone is looking for starting something on their own, the first thing they need to worry about is, will I pay for the service from my own pocket money? If I'm willing to pay the service from my own pocket money, will somebody else also pay? If you have got buying customers, investors will be running up. So, going back to what I was saying earlier, problem statement. Is it worth solving a problem? Instead of trying to be the Uber of that and the Ola of this, India is a big country and there are loads of problems, genuine problem, which need solving. As Aman was pointing out some of these. So one should think about how can they use technology to bring in a disruption to solve these problems. So a lot of time I get this typical question, what are the top trending areas right now? So I say that in last 50 years, presently as well as in next 50 years in India, there will be top 5 trending areas. Roti, kapra, makan, healthcare, education. And these 5 areas, lot of disruption is required. A lot of problems are there which need solving. So if you look at a problem, and not just problem, whose problem is it, and how much are they willing to pay for that problem to go away? So the problem cycle. If you look at a problem cycle, a problem starts to a specific group of people. There has a trigger. From that trigger, you get a problem manifest. Symptoms are developed. So, for example, for a farmer, let's take the example of a farmer. For a farmer, one of the biggest problem is crop failure or not having the better yield. When the problem triggers every time after harvesting, and the manifests into, so if I say, oh, the yield is low, is that a problem? That's a symptom. What is the problem? The problem is most of the time the farmer doesn't have any clue, because there are certain factors which the farmer doesn't have any control on. One is weather, second is soil moisture level. Well, they do have some control on that soil moisture level, and as well as the nutrient in the soil. So all these factors then manifest into immediate emotional reaction, farmer suicide, farmers leaving farming, all this stuff we have seen that. The best example is, let's see, I live in Gurgaon, so I can give that example because anyone who is living in NCR have faced this stubble burning. If you look at stubble burning, we see the problem is people are burning the stubble. Now, what is the root cause of the problem? Because there is excess production of rice. If you look at that, Haryana and Punjab produces excess amount of rice which is not required. Now the Punjab government has started doing that. They are actually provide incentivizing other crop cultivation over rice to stop that. But again, that problem, the emotional stress we all know about, but the problem is something different than the symptom. And it is if the problem would have been if the problem would have been solved, it would have gone. The cycle would have been broken. But since the alternatives, there are some alternatives over there. What are the alternatives? Do some manure, use them to create manure, penalize the farmer, take care, and get this, stop them, put police, everything. All these alternatives are there, but they're not efficient. So the problem is still going on. If you look at a problem statement canvas, this is how you need to define, understand the problem. See, why I'm discussing a lot about the problem is that unless you understand the problem, bringing a solution is a bit of a challenge because you cannot have a solution and then look for a problem to match it with that. Then it becomes what we call as a confirmation bias or a solution bias. Now, idea. Okay, fine. I know the problem. Now, how do I work on my idea? So, what to ask? First thing is, what to ask about my idea? I've got an idea now. Need to vet the idea. Is there a demand? When I said demand, is this, am I trying to solve a problem? When I say scope, how big is the problem? What is the nature of the problem? Competition, who else is there? Who else is trying to solve the problem in a similar way and in an effective way? How much do I care about this problem? It's like, oh no, I'll still sit for my placements, or I'll still, after PhD, I'll still go for my, what do you call that, faculty's job. But this is something I'm doing on a sidewise and I'll try to look for it. Then you're not actually serious about it, you're just fostering a hobby. Expertise. So if today ma'am would have announced that Somjit, who has got a BSc in sericulture and an MBA in entrepreneurship and innovation, and he'd be talking about, let's say, wafer growth for chipset, how many of you would have attended? I don't think many would have attended it because you know for sure I am not from that background. So expertise is also important. More importantly, if you don't have that expertise, can you find someone who can complement your skill sets? Then differentiation. This I'll come later. How do you create differentiation? Customer inclination. Are they willing to take your, will they be willing to take your service or product? And more importantly, will they pay for it? Now, how do I find those answers? Questions to bana liya. How do I find those answers? Very simple. I don't have to tell you about this much. Primary data. Everyone understands what primary data is. Competitor analysis. You need to understand the competitor. Assessing the competitive advantage of your idea. What better you can bring in? The competitors are doing XYZ. Can I bring in ABC as well? Assessing the market size. Is the market big enough for me to venture in? Obtaining independent endorsement of the idea. Go to that friend who's brutally honest with you. Go to that person who's brutally honest with you. Talk to that person. You need to go to that person who kya bakwas idea. Because that person will give you the most honest opinion. That person won't think about, are bolunga to he might feel bad about it. Your core competence in the domain. Very important. Look for partners. As I said earlier, partners should not be, you're my best friend, so we are going to be partner. Oh, you're my brother, you're going to be partner. Oh, I know you since we have been teaching for so many days, I'm going to be a partner. Partner has to be someone who can complement your skill sets. You're bringing in a partner to reduce the cost of hiring another employee. Not only that, the partner has to sync with the vision that you have. Assessing capital requirement. Very important at the early stage. When I say capital requirement, many will sit down with an Excel sheet. They will write down office, 20,000 rupees month, rent and everything. Think that There is no money coming in. You have to run it with your own money. And how do you have spent? That's how you do assessing capital. What we don't do often is we don't look at the failures. Who have failed and why? Why they have failed? Because in that why, you could understand or you might get an answer of whether to go into this field or not. Last but not the least, a better planned roadmap is more important than a better plan. So planning the roadmap is more important than having a better plan. Some entrepreneurial myths we talk about when it comes to technology, innovation, and entrepreneurship. Uh, so, if we talk about entrepreneurial success, these three genders, I'm sure all of us know what we see in them. We see that these entrepreneurs are successful. What is their success? Did they knew that they started with the idea of did Steve Jobs started with the idea of I'd be the one of the most largest, as he said once in one of the interviews, largest startup in the world. Then Richard Branson started with the idea of having so many different verticals. Then Bill Gates started with the idea of having Microsoft as a household name. So some entrepreneurial myths that we get to know a lot about. All entrepreneurs are introverted loners. Oh, they don't mix with people. They are very focused. They don't like to share their ideas and all this stuff. Entrepreneurship business is a path to riches. Yeah, I will be my own boss. Whatever money I make, I will be making my own money. Nobody has to do, and I will be like the next Bill Cosby or someone. Sorry, Bill Gates or someone. Nothing succeeds like success. Once you're successful, you will always be successful. Successful following. All entrepreneurs are risk-taking gamblers. They are the biggest gamblers I've come across. The risk he took, boss, can't. It's unparalleled. Unparalleled. So anyone having a great idea and great enthusiasm can achieve entrepreneurial success. All you need is great idea and a lot of passion and enthusiasm to go in there.
Thank you so much, sir. It was indeed a stimulating session. I can see you have been to our campus as you just shared. I think that was regarding the JBIC. We have recently opened up the GYMS Incubation Center as well.
Wow,
So
wow.
many of the
Congratulations.
students are coming up for the startup ideas in that, and we are trying to provide them all the support basically at our end, which we can gather from people like you. So indeed, yes, many struggling entrepreneurs amongst these IT students, many are also passionate about making apps, making softwares which are commercial. So they are at standstill. Probably they have got a lot of ideas. Entrepreneur myths have solved a lot of their issues and how to impress the investors. Must have got all these things from your presentation. So it was really an informative session. Thank you so much, sir. And do visit us campus whenever you have time in person too, sir.
I'd love to. I'd love
Thank you, sir. We have been joined with us, our co-chair and chairperson for the track one session, Dr. Ruchika Malhotra and Dr. Naresh Kumar. I welcome you, ma'am. I welcome you, sir. Sir, ma'am, are you there?
Yes, very good afternoon to all of you. Thank you so much.
It's an honor to have you with us.
Yeah, thank you for the invitation.
Ma'am, it will take a short while to start the track session.
Okay.
Now we have amongst us Dr. Meenakshi Narula, who's the head of Department of Information Technology, Jagannath International Management School, Vasantpur, and she has been the guiding soul behind the hard work of our department team throughout these dark days of lockdown. Ma'am is having more than 23 years of industry and academia experience. She's having consistent academic record with PhD in computer science and postgraduate degree of MTech in information technology and MSc in mathematics. Apart from heading the IT department of GYMS for the last 13 years, she is also the program coordinator of PC program of GGS IP University for entire Delhi. She has been instrumental in revision of the syllabus of BCA, coordinating with more than 30 affiliated colleges of the university offering BCA program. Before joining academics, she has worked in the industry and has been involved in developing software for banking, housing finance, and education sectors. She has published and presented many research papers in the areas of soft computing, fuzzy logic, and expert system in various conferences and journals. I welcome you, ma'am, and thank you for guiding us throughout this session as well. I would ask you to take over from here and present a few
Oh,
words to our attendees and the session judges.
okay, thank you, Harsha. I
Yes.
must congratulate you for carrying out the session so well. Okay, I will not take much time. I just wanted to start my address. As you all know that we had planned this conference on 14th of March earlier in the conventional mode, but we had to postpone it due to outbreak of corona pandemic. Now we are conducting this conference amidst the same challenging situation of the pandemic, but in the online mode, which is an innovation for us, although it has become a new normal now. So we are not only the witness of evolving innovation ecosystem, but also contributor to it. We have not only been attending so many webinars, FDPs, workshops, lectures online, but also we have taught almost 1/3 of our syllabus online. Now these are looking normal now after 2 months, but prior to 2-3 months, no one would have imagined that not only higher education institutions will adapt or implement it so quickly, but now very small kids in our homes are also attending classes through mobiles and laptops. This shows how information technology can contribute to innovation ecosystem, and the objective of conducting this conference was very much in order and highly called for, that we should sensitize, enthuse, and orient our students, faculty members to a holistic approach towards innovative applications of information technology. We are observing a transition to a knowledge-based economy with greater emphasis on innovation to drive economic growth and competitiveness. With the world innovating at such a breakneck speed, about which all our speakers have also talked earlier, it is the need of the hour to explore and keep ourselves abreast with the ever-changing role of information technology to provide innovative solutions to most prominent problems of the society. For innovative ideas to be efficiently generated, developed, tested, and ultimately scaled for development impact require the coordinated, collaborative action and resources of the interconnected organizations such as government, civil society, the private sector, universities, individual entrepreneurs, and others, collectively referred to as the innovation ecosystem. The purpose of the conference is to provide a forum for discussion on the role and involvement of the mentioned contributors and also the applications of information technology in building the ecosystem of innovations. The conference is also an effort to give an exposure to the academicians, researchers on the role of information technology in developing an innovation ecosystem. It also provides a platform to our students to exhibit their inherent talents both as participants and organizers. Before we move ahead with our technical session, we would like to release the proceedings of our conference. We are releasing digital copy of the proceeding now and will be sending the hard copy to all the participants later. All the guests might have just received a link on their Zoom chat. I would request all the guests to kindly check their Zoom chat, and now I would like to request all the guests to click the link and press the inaugurate button. Deepak, you can start.
Aman sir, Jessica ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you, all of you.
Thank you.
I think all the guests, I will request kindly switch on their videos for a few minutes so that we can have a good photograph of this. And
ma'am, I would request to present the vote of thanks for the inaugural
yes,
festival.
yes, definitely. I am coming to that. Thank you, everyone. Now, these proceedings will contain papers presented at the national conference which is going on right now. These papers are intended to provide opportunity to researchers, academicians, and the people from IT industry to share their ideas and experiences, present the results of their research, as well as build up new contacts in field of computer science and information technology. Each contributed paper was checked for plagiarism and referred to before being accepted for publication in these proceedings. The papers were accepted for publication based on their interest, relevance, innovation, and application to the information technology. Before I propose my vote of thanks, I would like to read the messages of the Vice Chancellor of the IP University and the Dean of IP University and our Honorable Chairman. So I will start with the message of Vice Chancellor of Guru Gobind Singh Indraprastha University, Padma Shri and Dr. B.C. Roy Awardee Dr. Mahesh Sharma. Quote, Jagannath International Management School is an eminent educational institution affiliated with the Guru Gobind Singh Indraprastha University. I congratulate JIMS on organizing the National Conference on Information Technology and Innovation Ecosystems. This book contains the proceedings of the conference, the thoughtful initiative towards the development of innovation ecosystems by the use of information technology that has been undertaken by Jagannath International Management School is extremely relevant. The conference was designed to sensitize students to the new vistas of business with a special emphasis on problem solving, accelerating the growth of the nation in general and the poor and marginalized in particular. My best wishes to the JIMS fraternity, organizers and participants for their significant efforts towards this initiative. I am sure that the conference was fruitful. I wish the college success in all its future endeavors. Unquote. Now, I am going to read the message we have received from our esteemed chairman, Dr. Amit Gupta. Quote, Jagannath International Management School, Vasant Kunj is founded on the core principles of academic pursuit and excellence. To achieve excellence in any work requires utmost dedication, hard work, and perseverance. We at JIMS have made this dictum our motto and our way of life in every single activity we perform. To bring in culture of information exchange and feedback on developing trends in technologies, to conduct various academic activities such as seminars, conferences, workshops, faculty development programs, etc. are necessary. I am delighted to note that Department of Information Technology is organizing the National Conference on Information Technology and Innovation Ecosystem. Undoubtedly, this type of conference not only brings all the researchers, students at one platform, but it also instills the research culture among the fraternity from academia and industry in the country, thereby contributing to the development of nation. I hope that this conference would certainly bring out innovative ideas among the participants, paving a way for new inventions and technologies in the field of information technology. I wish the conference a grand success and urge all participants to brainstorm on the various thrust area of the conference, unquote. Now, we have also received a message from the Dean of University School of Information and Communication Technology, Guru Gobind Singh Indraprastha University, Dr. Mrs. Arvinder Kaur. Quote, it is my pleasure to note that the Department of Information Technology of Jagannath International Management School, Vasant Kunj, is hosting its national conference on information technology and innovation ecosystem on 23rd May. Organizing such an event reinforces objective of developing an environment for the exchange of ideas towards innovation and technological developments. I am sure the conference would give participants an opportunity to deliberate on current issues of national relevance, particularly in the field of information technology, and this occasion will provide suitable environment for researchers and academicians to freely exchange the views and ideas with others. I convey my warm greetings and felicitation to the organizing committee and participants. I extend my best wishes for the success of conference, unquote. Now, since we are running short of time, I just would quickly like to propose the vote of thanks to all who have helped us in making this conference a very resounding success. First of all, I'd like to extend my hearty vote of thanks to all the distinguished guests present here who have spared time from their busy schedule. I'm very grateful to Dr. Vijay Lakshmi for accepting our request and gracing the event as a keynote speaker. Ma'am, your although she is not there, but I must appreciate that her presentation was an eye-opener for all of us. I would like to now thank all the speakers, distinguished speakers, Mr. Soumyajit and Mr. Aman Sanduja, for making an excellent presentation and making this conference a very meaningful and interesting. Thank you, sir, for your very thought-provoking and interesting addresses. I'd like to express my deep gratitude to our director, Dr. Ravi Kedar, for his limitless support and guidance. Sir, you are a true motivator to all of us. I am very grateful to ICT Academy also for collaborating with us to organizing this conference. I place on records with appreciation the hard work, involvement and efforts taken by the team of faculty, staff members and students of Department of Information Technology of JIMS Vasant Kunj in organizing this conference. Finally, I thank the wonderful students who are prepared the paper to present in this conference. It is a great achievement for them to be able to write a research paper at this early age at undergraduate level and present it in front of the galaxy of researchers and intellectuals. I am also thankful to the students who have turned up in such great numbers, although we had to restrict the number of the students due to limitation of participants in Zoom application. Once again, I would like to thank all for your cordial cooperation. Thank you very much.